right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Breathe easier. The more tolerable morning waiting for you when you start your Saturday.
Take a bite out of the Lou.
At the end of the day, everybody comes here to eat. They just want to eat.
The Downtown Food Fest to sample this weekend. But first, demanding answers into St. Louis Public Schools' finances.
There's obviously a lack of focus and a lack of prioritization of children in the school board.
Tonight, even St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones is calling for action. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson. Today, the mayor called on the state auditor to look into spending at St. Louis Public Schools. Superintendent Keisha Scarlett remains on temporary leave and now questions over her replacement. Brent Solomon is following these developments from the newsroom. Brent.
Hey there, Kelly. Here's what I can tell you. The teachers union in Washington gave newly named interim superintendent a vote of no confidence just before she came here. They did the same for the current chief of staff at SLPS, citing lack of support and collaboration with staff. Scarlett hired both of them to work here. In this letter to the state auditor, Mayor Tashara Jones says St. Louis Public Schools started last school year with a surplus of $17 million, but now has a projected deficit of $35 million. She says it's, quote, necessary to look into the district's spending.
This is exactly the type of momentum that we've been pushing for.
While Superintendent Keisha Scarlett is now on leave, her deputy superintendent, Millicent Bourchade, is taking the lead.
She quickly rose into this position, and then as she does so, the school faculty and staff find out, and the board finds out that there was a vote of no confidence from the previous school staff of the previous district. And so that then is going to provide a challenge for her.
Bourchade does not have a superintendent certification in Missouri, which is required for a district to have full accreditation.
And as we all know, the district was controlled by Department of Elementary and Secondary for several years with a state-appointed board of directors, and it got out from under that. Dr. Adams was there for 14 years. He provided a stability point that hadn't been present in quite a while, and he improved. Under him, the district came back to fully accredited status. So I suppose that the state could determine that the district is financially stressed, determine that it's out of compliance for accreditation purposes, and put it back under state monitoring and governance.
Now, to be clear, that hasn't happened, and there's no indication at this point if it will, but it could. By the way, the mayor references the superintendent hiring people she knew from her previous job and even some of their spouses for top positions here. SLPS is only saying, quote, there will be no interruptions in the ongoing work and preparations for the upcoming school year.
Thanks, Brent. Tonight, a new hat is being thrown into the race for St. Louis mayor. Hours ago, 5 on Your Side has learned the city recorder of deeds, Michael Butler, will challenge Mayor Tashara Jones and Alderwoman Carol Spencer for the job. Butler is a former state representative and the head of Missouri Democratic Party. The mayoral primary is set for March 4th of next year. Police departments across the country are dealing with staffing shortages, and the St. Louis region is no different. Officials in both St. Louis City and County police departments say they need more officers. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski dissects the challenges they're facing.
Fewer and fewer people are choosing to put on the badge.
There's been a narrative out there that police officers aren't out to do the right thing.
The St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department is budgeted to have 1,220 officers on staff. Right now, they only have 894. 14 of them are in the academy, graduating in November.
The officers just got a $12,000 raise, a historic raise for the mayor of this city to make us competitive. That helps us bring more officers in, keeps officers.
Chief Chief Robert Tracy says they've had to be persistent with recruitment, and recent efforts brought in 124 applicants.
You want your police officers to be vetted very carefully because they have such an enormous responsibility.
Many departments face different challenges when it comes to staffing, as coverage areas and responsibilities vary in size and needs. Their next-door neighbors at the St. Louis County Police Department are budgeted to have 955 officers. Right now, they have 825.
We're still providing excellent service. Our officers are still out there answering the calls.
When you're not at full strength, how does that affect the officers and detectives in the field?
They may be taking on extra shifts, volunteering for extra assignments. So the things that kind of suffer are the special events.
St. Louis County Police use several tools to recruit new officers, including higher salaries, opportunities to move up in a timely manner, college tuition reimbursement, and one of the most important, leading by example. It's why Detective Jamie Partee joined the force.
And I saw through my school resource officer that there was an impact that an officer could make on our youth, and I wanted to be able to make that same impact on today's youth.
Reporting in St. Louis, Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
A few hours ago, the city of Ferguson kicked off Unity Weekend. The annual event formed as a way to unite the community following the shooting death of Michael Brown a decade ago. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend takes us to the event.
On a Friday evening, Talina Deering went to this YMCA in Ferguson not for recreation time, but for a 2-hour-long session on how to balance a budget, rebuild her financial portfolio, and become debt-free.
I'm coming here to get more education about how to save money to purchase a new home.
The city of Ferguson held what it called a financial literacy event to kick off its 10th annual Unity Weekend. Experts had candid talks with citizens and business owners about many money matters.
Our plan is to provide people with an action plan to say, we have a list of organizations that can help you on your various goals.
On August 9th, 2014, 18-year-old Michael Brown was shot and killed by a police officer. The teenager's death touched off riots and unrest in the streets of Ferguson. City leaders, sponsors, and organizations later created Unity Weekend as a way to bring the community together. Next week marks 10 years since Brown's death. Mayor Ella Jones says Ferguson is still using events like this to heal and to help its citizens in a variety of ways.
10 years later, we are still working to have the best community for anyone to live in.
During Unity Weekend, students will receive free backpacks. There will also be resources offered to families. Community Strong is the theme.
I like it a lot. I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful for the people of Ferguson.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
And be sure to join 5 on your side for a special Race, Listen, Learn, Live Voices of Ferguson. You'll hear from Ferguson stakeholders and residents 10 years after the death of Michael Brown and the unrest that followed. See how far the city has come and the work that remains. Join us Thursday, August 22nd at 7 p.m. A foodie lover's dream this weekend at Ballpark Village. Local restaurants, pop-ups, and food trucks are coming together for the annual Taste of St. Louis. Annie Krall is live downtown. What's on the menu, Annie?
Kelly, I wish tonight of all nights we had smell-o-vision so you could fully experience this melting pot of all the different cuisines that are here in downtown St. Louis this weekend. About 33 restaurant and vendors were part of this year's Taste of St. Louis. And keep in mind, some of them are still up and coming in the St. Louis food scene and have never cooked at this kind of scale before. The Food Fest started at 5 o'clock on Friday. That's quite the alliteration right there. Customers enjoying sausages, pastries from around the world, plus buckets and buckets of Gus's world-famous fried chicken being dropped in tonight, making the space known for hot dogs smell like the best kind of food hall with the most vendors ever. Foodies coming together for what the Taste co-director Chuck Justice says is approximately the 23rd year. Hungry people from across the bi-state stop by after work to get a downtown dinner and drink.
it's really neat to see the camaraderie amongst all the restaurants, and they really do help each other. They get excited about trying each other's food. You know, Sunday night, you'll see them plates of food walking around, handing it off to people, and it's pretty neat to see them. Just the fellowship and friendship that's here.
St. Louis is probably one of the most underrated food scenes that exists, if you ask me. I mean, you get everything at Taste of St. Louis, and it's an opportunity for you to taste places you didn't know we had.
And don't worry, you haven't missed your chance to try some of these delicious options. Taste St. Louis runs tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 10 o'clock, and then on Sunday from 11 a.m. again until 6 o'clock. Do keep in mind that even if some of those folks came out today to enjoy the Taste of St. Louis, they told me that they might come back for another nibble. Reporting live in downtown St. Louis, Annie Krall, 5 on your side.
Coming up, Vice President Kamala Harris now a step closer to the Democratic nomination.
This campaign is about all of us coming together.
The major meetings taking place this weekend as she prepares to name a running mate. She's a two-time Olympian from the City of Champions.
I didn't give up. I didn't give up.
How an East St. Louis native proved the doubters wrong in her dream of winning gold.
Hot? Well, yes. Humid? Not so much. When the searing temperatures return and where the stifling humidity gets stuck as we head into the weekend.
Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris is another step closer to becoming the Democratic presidential nominee. Hours ago, she won enough delegate votes to secure the nomination. The Democratic National Committee chair announced she received a majority of votes in the party's virtual roll call. The DNC will not make an official announcement until the vote is complete on Monday. Reports say Harris is interviewing a half dozen potential running mates this weekend ahead of a formal announcement next week. And Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is among the potential VP picks. Over the years, the St. Louis region has produced some of the greatest athletes in the world. That includes two-time Olympian Dawn Harper Nelson, an East St. Louis native who blazed her own path into the record books. 5 on your side's Holden Kowicki has more on her path to the podium.
Growing up in the City of Champions, East St. Louis native Dawn Harper Nelson knew at a young age she was chasing greatness.
Jackie Joanna Kersee is absolutely the first. I remember just looking up to her, but then when I actually met her, it truly just kind of made it very real for me. You know, she pulled me aside and, wanted to let me know I see something special in you.
It was on this track at East St. Louis Senior High School that Harper Nelson realized how special she could be.
My 9th grade year of high school, I knew that I was different. I won state and broke the state record.
Despite winning 6 state championships in high school and becoming a 2-time All-American at UCLA, she admits she was nervous going into her first Olympic trial. She qualified for the Olympic team by 7/1000ths of a second.
To know that all of those sleepless nights and telling your family like, no, I really think I can, for them to see it on that stage was just like, see?
Considered an underdog at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, Harper Nelson proved the doubters wrong by running a personal best time to bring home gold in the 100-meter hurdles.
Biting that medal was like, man, like all the sacrifices, the times that you question, and you're like, God, is this really what you have for me? It was like, I didn't give up. I didn't give up. And so it meant everything to know that everything I put into it, it was like, it was real.
Now retired, Harper Nelson hopes to inspire the next generation of greatness in the City of Champions.
If I gave up, I would not be tasting gold. Do not give up.
In East St. Louis, Holden Kowicki.
Here we go!
5 on your side.
Harper Nelson is chasing another dream by joining the NBC broadcast team for the Olympics. You can catch her reports on track and field here on 5 on your side throughout the games. Now let's take a look at the current medal count. The U.S. remains on top with 43 total medals, 21 of those in swimming. Trailing behind us, the host nation France with 36 total. China has 31 medals, 13 of which are gold. Great Britain has 27. And Australia rounds out the top 5 with 22. Let's check in with Scott again as we head into the weekend. Lower Humidity.
Yes, it's still going to be a
Music
hot
to my
weekend.
ears.
Yeah, it's still going to be a hot weekend, but you could feel it today. Just a few puffy clouds around, especially west of St. Louis, east of town. They were a little bit thicker, and then we've gone into this evening. Skies have cleared out, and your humidity levels definitely lower today. Considering where we've been this past week with the humidity and the dew point temperatures, in some cases right around 80 degrees, to get them back into the 60s like we had today, it's a refreshing breath for us. Right now in St. Louis, 78 degrees. We are under a clear sky. The winds have slackened out of the northwest at 5. Only 87 for the high today. This morning's low, 74 degrees. We should be a degree or two cooler tomorrow morning. Outlying areas back into the 60s. That's under a mainly clear sky. The wind's very light out of the northwest at 5 miles per hour. Here's the thing. We've moved that extreme heat much farther to the east, and the disturbance that was producing the unsettled weather continues to shift to the east as well. So with that sliding away, that leaves us wide open for sunshine all weekend long. That won't be the case in the Sunshine State. You saw the showers and thunderstorms there this afternoon. Well, this is a tropical system that's developing down here. As we look south of Cuba, that circulation starting to show up. This will develop into a tropical storm over the weekend, and it will impact parts of Florida, particularly along the west coast. Although most of the peninsula will get some rain out of that. It will be Tropical Storm Debbie, probably within the next 24 hours. No impact for us. We look at plenty of sunshine this weekend. How about low 90s for highs? Okay, that sounds warm. That's pretty close to average for this time of year. Average highs 90. We're thinking 91 at 3 o'clock, but the thing is, it'll still feel like 91 at 3 o'clock tomorrow. We go into Sunday, it's a couple of degrees warmer, 92 to 95 for the highs. It may feel slightly warmer when we're at that 93, 94, 95 degree range. We may feel like we're around 100, 101, but the dew point trend keeps us in the 60s here as we head into early next week. Makes all the difference in the world. By Tuesday, we're flirting with 100 degrees here as we look at our forecast high temperature. There's plenty of sunshine this weekend, right into the middle of next week. Temperatures peak on Wednesday or Tuesday, and then by Wednesday we drop back to 87 degrees for the high. And it looks like the chance for rain Wednesday night into Thursday looks pretty slim. So we're looking at, I think, a nice stretch of dry weather, and yes, it's hot, but it won't be as humid, it won't be as brutal as what we just dealt with.
Plus, it's August.
It is August.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Corey Miller has sports.
Well, we had local Olympians in action in Paris, a Cardinals debut that didn't quite go as planned, and some more moves from City SC. Stick around, sports is on deck.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
We have not been short on City SC news in recent weeks. Even though the team is looking up at the rest of Major League Soccer in the standings, they are not standing still. And Lutz and company pulled off some more moves today. This morning, City added German defender Johannes Horn on loan through the end of June 2025. The 27-year-old has played in the Bundesliga's first and second division since 2016. And then we got some big news. MLS insider Tom Bogert is reporting that City is finalizing a deal to send vice captain Tim Parker to New England for center back Henry Kessler. Parker seemed to confirm the news with this tweet thanking St. Louis. Parker is a historic figure for City SC. He scored the team's first ever MLS goal and their first ever playoff goal a season ago. New Cardinals starter Eric Fetty made his debut today in Chicago against the Cubs, and he had a rough second inning. 5 runs, including a 3-run bomb from Christian Bethancourt and a solo bomb from Michael Busch. Fetty did settle down to hold the damage there. 5 innings, 5 runs in his debut at Wrigley Field. All 3 Cardinals runs today came on bases loaded walks. They just couldn't get the big hit, though. Brandon Crawford's going to strike out with the bases loaded in the 8th inning. That about wraps it up. Cubs win 6-3 to take the first 2 games of the series.
Just had terrible command. Was missing a ton arm side up in the zone. You know what they say about first impressions. Wanted it to be a special one. Didn't quite have that, but just got to move on to the next one and start working that back.
Kelly, that'll do it for sports.
All right, thanks, Corey. And we have more Olympics coverage tomorrow morning, so make sure to wake up a little early to watch Team USA compete. Track and field qualifiers kick off at 4 a.m. Women's gymnastics at 9:20, men's basketball at 10:15, and swimming at 1:30. Some relief for shoppers, especially parents. Missouri is hosting a tax-free weekend for those back-to-school essentials. Now through Sunday, school supplies under $50 per purchase are tax-free. For clothing, any item under $100 is tax-free. And for more on what is and isn't tax-free this weekend, check out the article in the As Seen on TV section of KSDK.com. Christmas may be 4 months away, but some are already getting into the holiday. Today, Mariah Carey announced her new Christmas Time tour hitting the road this November with a St. Louis stop on November 29th. There's just one thing you need, a ticket, and those go on sale August 9th. Let's get one final look at our forecast for the weekend.
Well, we know we won't be dealing with temperatures in the 90s at the end of November.
No.
We don't know what exactly we'll be dealing with, but it won't be this. So it's warm the next couple of days. We say warm because it's been so steamy and so hot the last few days. We're still back into the low 90s tomorrow, mid 90s on Sunday and Monday, close to 100 on Tuesday. But your heat index is not going to be that far off your temperatures because we don't have as much humidity. That means it's not as brutal as this last bout of heat that we just went with. And it also doesn't last all that long. Wednesday and Thursday, we're back down into the 80s for highs. So this is just kind of a quick hit of heat, and it's not as impactful as what we just went through.
Well, that's a good thing. All right. Thank you so much for joining us at 10. Late night Olympics coverage is next. Have a great night and a great weekend.